in the aftermath of Liverpool losing their long unbeaten run with a 3-0 defeat at Watford, I'm going to be comparing this current Liverpool team to the famous Arsenal Invincibles, who went 49 games unbeaten back in 2003-2004, a team that's dear to my heart and a team that this man, Thierry Henry, was a central part of. So what we're going to be doing in this video is I'm going to be looking at statistics, taking into account a lot of different factors to do with both teams and comparing them, and then also trying to put a combined 11 together. Now, I am a little bit biased because I'm a huge fan of Arsenal. As you can see, I'm not trying to hide it, but I'm going to try and be as objective as possible. I'm going to be fair to the Liverpool players, and we'll see what the final result is at the end and judge me on that, rather than the fact that I do support Arsenal. I'm going to have to make some really tough decisions here because I do love those Arsenal Invincibles, but can all of them get into a combined 11? So before we get into the combined 11s, let's have a look at the facts, the numbers that both teams have achieved during their respected unbeaten runs. So we'll have a look at the number of games first of all. So Arsenal went 49 games unbeaten compared to Liverpool's 44. And crucially for Arsenal, within that 44 games, they went a whole Premier League season unbeaten, whereas Liverpool have not gone a whole campaign unbeaten. They've just done it spread across 2 seasons. So that's an important point to raise, and I think that goes in favour of Arsenal because they have the longer record and they went a whole season unbeaten within that as well. Now let's have a look at the number of wins and the number of draws that each team had in their unbeaten run. So Arsenal had, 49 games unbeaten, but they only won 36 of them, so they had 13 draws as well. Whereas Liverpool won 39 out of their 44 games, which meant they only had 5 draws. So with 2.77 points per game, as opposed to Arsenal's 2.47 points per game, Liverpool do come out on top on that particular statistic. Staying with statistics, that was a tricky one to say, staying with statistics, Liverpool come out on top in terms of both goals scored per game and goals conceded. So Liverpool scored 2.36 goals per game against Arsenal's 2.29, and Liverpool only conceded 0.66 goals per game as opposed to Arsenal's 0.7. So they are very close in terms of those statistics, but Liverpool do come out slightly on top. Now we come to the manner in which both teams lost their unbeaten run. So as we know, yesterday Liverpool lost their 44-game unbeaten run by losing 3-0 away to Watford at Vicarage Road. Now, to lose 3-0 in the manner in which they did, they played poorly on the day to a team so close to the bottom, even though they've done a lot better under their current manager. That's not a great look for a team that's supposedly dominated the Premier League for the last year or so. Arsenal, however, lost their unbeaten run, their 49-game unbeaten run at Old Trafford to a Manchester United team that were probably the second or third best team at that moment in time, and there were a lot of dubious, to say the least, refereeing decisions in that game. A very controversial game for a lot of Arsenal fans. If you can't remember it yourself, there are clips of the game on YouTube for you to have a look at and see the refereeing decisions for yourselves. They're not excuses. I don't normally blame refereeing decisions for outcomes of games, but just watch the video and have a look for yourself. Now, while not directly related to the Premier League unbeaten run, what we have to remember is that Liverpool have won the Champions League while this unbeaten run's been going on, which is a huge achievement for any football club. And as much as I love the Arsenal Invincibles, they really did underachieve in Europe, despite playing that fantastic football, which I think was better to watch than the way Liverpool have approached their unbeaten run. They massively underachieved in Europe and never won any European title around that period. So we have to say Liverpool do come on top with that one, having won the Champions League while still managing to go unbeaten over all those games in the Premier League. So well done to Liverpool for that. Got to hold my hands up. So this combined 11 is going to be a really hard, difficult process for me to go through. I have so many fantastic memories of the Arsenal Invincibles team. I'm closely connected to them. I have huge nostalgia for that team, while also picking some incredible players from the Liverpool team. So it's going to be very hard for me. What I'm going to do is we're going to have a 4-3-3 formation. The Arsenal Invincibles played 4-4-2, but I feel like 4-3-3, you can have that attacking midfielder almost as a second striker, so that's the way we're going to go with things. So I'm going to start off in goal. We've got to choose between Alisson Becker for Liverpool and Jens Lehmann for Arsenal. Now, as much as I love Big Jens, as a goalkeeper growing up myself, I idolised Jens Lehmann and tried to model my own game on him. He is a cult hero at Arsenal, absolute legend, but I don't think he's ever reached that point where Alisson Becker has in terms of being regarded as the world's number one goalkeeper, and he wasn't as good with his feet as Alisson Becker as well. Alisson is Brazil's undoubted number one goalkeeper, and he's won the Champions League, so unfortunately Jens, I've got to go with Alisson Becker as the goalkeeper in this combined 11. At right back, we've got to choose between Trent Alexander-Arnold with Liverpool and Lauren for Arsenal. Now, Lauren is, again, a cult hero like Jens Lehmann at Arsenal. He was absolutely fantastic. He took penalties for us when Thierry Henry didn't, and he was such a solid, strong, athletic right back for us. However, Trent Alexander-Arnold is absolutely magnificent for Liverpool. He's one of their creative players, provides so many assists for the front strike force of Liverpool. So again, I've just got to go with Trent Alexander-Arnold, even though as a fan I much prefer the character that Lauren brought to the Arsenal team, but Trent is magnificent, so Trent Alexander-Arnold it is. So I've got to pick two centre-backs for this combined 11, and for me this is the easiest decision out of all of the decisions I've got to make for this team. So for Arsenal, you can only really pick Sol Campbell or Kolo Touré, and then Liverpool, they have the likes of Van Dijk, Lovren, Matip and Gomez to pick from. But for me, and I think many others will agree, the two standouts are Van Dijk and Sol Campbell. They are absolute legends in the game, towering figures, real leaders as well at the back, and for me they will be absolute legends of the game. And what a partnership that would be if those two were around at the same time. Sol Campbell and Virgil van Dijk it is. 3-1 to Liverpool. Now, switching flanks to the left side of the field, we've got two fantastic candidates who could both do a brilliant job at left back. We've got Andy Robertson and Ashley Cole. As much as I dislike Ashley Cole for the way he left Arsenal to join Chelsea back in 2006, for me, Ashley Cole is going in that team, that combined team, all day long. Absolutely brilliant defensively, one of probably the best left back in the world throughout his playing career. He was just absolutely fantastic defensively and going forwards as well. Did brilliantly for England and had a great career with Arsenal and Chelsea. So for me, Ashley Cole, even though Andy Robertson, brilliant left back himself, but Ashley for me. So moving to the two deep lying central midfield positions, we have a few candidates to pick from. From Liverpool, we have the likes of Fabinho, Naby Keita, James Milner, Jordan Henderson, and with Arsenal we've only really got two to pick from, which is Gilberto and the captain as well, Patrick Vieira, and it's those two I'm going to pick. So Gilberto and Patrick Vieira are both going into my combined 11. They were absolute colossals in that central midfield in a period where there were only two central midfielders, so they could often get outrun by the attacking force of a team. they were absolute walls in that centre of the park. And for me, without a doubt, they are better than Liverpool's current central midfielders. So Vieira and Gilberto, off you go, get it back combined 11. Now, the attacking midfield position is going to be a controversial one, because in both of those undefeated teams, they didn't really have a standout attacking midfielder that was set in that position. So what I'm going to do is pick between two forwards that dropped back into that position and played the majority of their game in that position. So it's between Dennis Bergkamp and Roberto Firmino, basically. And for me, Dennis Bergkamp all day long. An absolute genius on and off the ball for Arsenal. As good as Roberto Firmino is, Dennis Bergkamp is in another league in terms of his impact on the Premier League and his brilliance in world football. So Dennis Bergkamp is in that combined. So moving over to the right wing now, we could pick between Mo Salah and Freddie Ljungberg. And as much as I love Freddie Ljungberg and some of the important goals that he did score, and particularly against Manchester United over his career at Arsenal, I think Mo Salah's impact at Liverpool has been so huge, and just his quality on the ball and in terms of his goal scoring as well, it eclipses Freddie Ljungberg. So I have to put Mo Salah in, despite the brilliance of both players. Mo Salah won the Champions League as well. He's in the combined 11. Now, the decision about left wing is such a difficult one. It's the most difficult decision I've got to make out of all of them. It's between Arsenal's Bobby Pires and Sadio Mane of Liverpool. Now, both brilliant players. They get goals, they get assists. They're such an important part of both of those teams. So it's really difficult for me to choose. Bobby Pires is an absolute legend at Arsenal. Mane will be a legend at Liverpool. But just because of his goal scoring record in the modern game, with all the demands and the fact he's won the Champions League, I'm just going to go for Sadio Mane. Really sorry, pains me to do it, but won the Champions League, Sadio Mane. Now, the centre forward one is probably the easiest decision I've got to make, even though Roberto Firmino is an absolutely fantastic player. For me, Thierry Henry is the king. It is a disgrace that he never won the Ballon d'Or during his peak years in football, but he is just a legend, and I mean a legend of the game, of world football. And on his day, he could beat any defender in the world, and people were just scared to face him. So, and Roberto Firmino just doesn't command that same fear factor as good a player as he is. So, without a doubt, Thierry Henry for me in that combined 11. So to recap this combined 11, we've got Alisson in goal, Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back, Sol Campbell and Virgil van Dijk at centre back, Ashley Cole at left back. We've got Gilberto and Vieira in midfield. We've got Mane and Salah on the wing. We've got Dennis Bergkamp just in behind the striker, and Thierry Henry up front. So that makes it Arsenal 6, Liverpool 5. And I think that is honestly, even though I'm a little bit, more than a little bit biased because of my affinity to Arsenal, I think that's a really, really fair reflection of the quality of the two teams. And I have been generous to some Liverpool players because they've won the Champions League. Now, the decision I still have to make is, who do I want as manager of this ultimate 11? Is it Arsene Wenger or is it Jurgen Klopp? And to be honest, I cannot make that decision. I've thought about it a lot. Jurgen Klopp has won the Champions League with Liverpool, and is probably going to win the Premier League, breaking a plethora of records in the process. Whereas Arsene Wenger, he actually went a season unbeaten with Arsenal, and he lost his unbeaten run in unfortunate circumstances. And on top of that, he completely changed English football and revolutionised it in a way. So I just can't pick between the two of them, and instead I'm going to have them as joint managers. So finally, thank you very much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please comment down below on what your ultimate combined 11 would be between those Arsenal Invincibles and the current Liverpool team. Also, if you like this video, please subscribe, give it a like, and follow us on social media as well. I've been JARRADtalks, and thank you very much for watching.